Hey everyone, welcome to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. Well, on this channel, my sisters and I love Thanksgiving, and we hate for it to get lost in between the hype of Halloween and the hustle and bustle of Christmas. So what we have for you today is a compilation of some of our favorite Thanksgiving videos from years past. We've got some cooking with Judy, our mom. We have some tablescaping and some fun centerpieces. So we've put it all together in one long video to give you some inspiration as we move into the Thanksgiving and then on to the Christmas holidays. We hope you enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome to Relatively Refined. In today's video, we have a special guest appearance for you. We hope you enjoy.
Hi, it's Kathleen from Relatively Refined, and I'm here today with my mom, Judy.
Hi Mom.
Hi, honey. So you've met my sisters Paula and Patty, and we thought how fun it would be for you to meet our mom, because she really is the reason why we love to decorate, to cook, we love to go thrifting, to tag sales, and really think about all things beautiful on a budget. So I happened to be at her home in Florida this weekend, and we thought it would be perfect to share one of our favorite recipes and have our mom star in the show. Oh. So she's going to make today a fabulous old favorite recipe of all of our families, a pumpkin roll. So about how old is that recipe, would you say?
Well, I would think about 30 years I've had it. I mean, it's been a long time.
Do you remember when you got it?
I do remember. I was in Vermont, living in Vermont, and I have a dear friend who was actually babysitting while I was teaching for my youngest child. And I went in her house to pick my son up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you cooking? It smells so good. And she said, it's a pumpkin roll. I asked her for the recipe, and that's the way. The rest is history. I've been making them ever since.
And I've made them. I'm sure Patty and Paula have made them.
I think they have.
I know they're my own kids' absolute favorite dessert around fall or Thanksgiving or even at Christmas time.
They really are. They're a lovely dessert to take if you are invited to someone's house. To bring, and you can decorate whatever platter or what you're putting it on to go with the season. The fall, maybe sprinkle some leaves around. Christmas time, I put cranberries around, and on the top of the pumpkin roll at Christmas, I take like maraschino cherries and put them on top.
And the green ones.
And the green make and it's a really pretty dessert to bring.
It's very impressive, even though it's a fairly simple recipe, as you will see, because our mom's going to make one right in front of us, so we all can see how to do it, the process, and how it comes out. We're going to make your famous pumpkin roll. So I'm going to let you started, and then I'll get out of the way, and we'll talk through this recipe.
Okie doke. Well, the first thing is to have a nice jelly roll pan, and
up. This looks like a new one.
It's brand new.
Non-stick.
Yes, but you do need to spray the pan and spray really well, because you don't want to have any of the batter sticking to the pan. After you've given the pan a good spray, we're going to just set it aside and mix the batter. And the recipe is an old recipe that I've had made this pumpkin roll 1,000 times, but for some reason I still have to look at the recipe card. First,
it's my son's favorite recipe that you made.
It'd be 3 eggs for 5 minutes. I know it seems like a long time, but you have to be real frothy.
Wow, so that really is frothy.
It is very frothy, and it's very light colored. So now you think that would be ready to put in. We're going to add all the rest of the ingredients, starting with the canned pumpkin mix, and you use 2/3 of a cup, I believe. So we'll put that in. And then we add 1 cup of granulated sugar. Just pour that right.
Are you going to mix this in?
I'm going to kind of stir it in first to get all the ingredients, kind of incorporated there. Sorry.
And then use the mixer.
And then I'm going to use the mixer. And then next, I need the 3/4 cup of flour. I don't actually have.
That's not very much flour, which is.
No, it's a very it's a very.
Jelly roll.
Yeah, you don't use a whole lot of flour. And then, you can use fresh lemons, but I have the lemon juice already squeezed here in this little jar. So you only use, let me see, 1 teaspoon of the lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of lemon juice.
How many times do you suppose you've made this recipe?
Oh my gosh.
Thousands.
Thousands. And
Have you had any flops? Any that?
Oh yeah, I have, definitely.
I have. I have this recipe and made it too, and I've had a major flop. Couldn't get it out of the pan.
Couldn't get it out of the pan. Prayerfully, we'll be able to get it out today. Okay, and we need some baking powder. And we need a teaspoon of the baking powder. I need to have, we'll put in our spices, and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Okay, now I need 1 teaspoon of ginger. Cinnamon, ginger, and the last spice is nutmeg. Where did I put that now? Right here. And the nutmeg, you only use a 1/2 teaspoon because it's a fairly strong spice. So
I love it.
Oh, I do too. All right, now we've got all the ingredients.
Salt? Do you add a little bit of salt?
I do add a little bit of salt. I think it's only a 1/2 teaspoon, but honestly, I don't even bother to. I just sprinkle.
Pinches.
Yep. And then I am going to take a spoon, a bigger spoon, excuse me, and just kind of mix it up before I give it a whirl with the mixer.
I'm imagining sort of an orangey color when it's all mixed in.
Right, yeah, a little bit. I have to tell you this mixer has like 1 speed, so when I turn it on, it might be spraying. I think that is pretty good. Okay.
I'm going to zoom in so we can just see.
Yeah, it's real. It is kind of pumpkin-y, yeah. And I'll just give it another. Make sure I get it all in there. By hand.
It smells good. Not even cooking yet. It smells
No,
good.
it's really a lot of nice spices in this. Now I'm going to pour it into my jelly roll pan. Now we're just going to pour it in and make sure that we cover the whole pan, corners and everything. So,
and it doesn't look like it's a ton of batter.
No, there really isn't.
The size of the pan, but I guess you don't want the roll of the jelly roll
No.
to be too thick.
you want your, yeah, it's a very thin. I think I got most of it in there. And just kind of spread it so you make sure you get the corners. And you'll see the spray is kind of coming through, but that's okay because you really do need to make sure it's.
There's nothing more frustrating.
Yeah, I've had to piece together, and believe me, I'd rather it to come out nice whole.
Preheated. It sounds like it's heard it go off.
Yeah,
already.
it's all. And while this is baking for 20 minutes, we'll get the next part of this pumpkin roll. I have this little timer, my little chicken timer, and you need to set it for 20 minutes. So just keep turning it till I get to 20 minutes. You can hear it clicking. And then I have this dish towel, and I believe this is a dish towel I've used every time when I've made the pumpkin roll. For some reason, it's just the perfect, it lays smooth and everything. So then you take your dish towel and a cup of confectioner's sugar, and we're going to sprinkle it all around and kind of work it in there. So it looks almost like a little layer of snow.
And that must serve, that not only gives it flavor and a little bit of color, but
Right.
it won't stick to the
towel
with the sugar on it.
Well, hopefully that's going to happen. And you just kind of spread it out while it's in the oven. And when you do take the pumpkin roll out of the oven, it does have to cool for some time.
Before you
put it
on this, or
no.
Okay.
Before I add the filling. Yeah. Now that should be good, right?
Okay, like so our timer's set. The cake is in the oven, and now you're going to make the filling.
I'm going to make the filling.
Okay. It's my favorite part, by the way.
I will start with, you take a block of 8-inch cream cheese.
Or 8 ounces.
8 ounces. And it should be really soft. So you take it out of the fridge and let it stay at room temperature. And 1/4 of a stick of butter, again, at room temperature.
Now wait, is it a 1/4 of a stick or a half a stick? Half a stick.
Oh, you're right.
It's four tablespoons,
yeah,
which is a half a stick. So, right, a stick is 8 tablespoons or a half a cup. And so it's a 1/4 of a cup, I guess.
Yeah.
We do the math right.
And then a cup of confectioner's sugar.
Okay.
And a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla.
It's basically like cream cheese frosting.
Oh, it is. So that's one of my favorites.
I know.
There. So we've got only 4 ingredients. Okay. Cream cheese, butter, confectioner's sugar, and the vanilla. And I'm going to stop that for a minute and get a spoon and make sure I get all of that on the side of the bowl, the confectioner's sugar.
And I always thought when I make it, I'm like, oh, it's not going to be enough
it's actually,
of the filling. It's plenty. Yeah, I know. Every time I'm like, oh, maybe I'll double it or something, but you don't. You really don't have to.
You don't have to.
But because I like it so much,
yeah,
I'm always tempted to just double it.
And see, I think good. That's why you want to make sure everything is at room temperature, because there's no lumps in it at all. It's all nice and smooth. Take these.
I'm going to walk around and just peek in on the oven and see how the cake part is doing. I haven't heard the timer go off yet.
No, the timer hasn't gone.
Oh, it's looking good.
It is.
It's not. Okay, so checking our timer, and it's just probably ready to go off. We'll wait for the beep, and we'll walk over.
Certainly smells
I
good.
know. Okay, so it should. Well, here's the true test. Will it come out of the jelly roll pan, right?
That's it.
Okay, so oven off.
I'm going to turn the oven off
Okay.
and be very careful. Stick it in. Well, it looks pretty good. We did get a
little crack.
Crack.
Okay.
but that's going to be like in the end. So,
But you can already see how it. Look how easily it's going to come out of
Yeah.
your pan. That's great.
okay, so now I'm going to take it over here where I have the dish towel
Okay.
with the powdered sugar. And this you take and hope
For the
fingers
best.
crossed. Yeah.
And just flip it.
Yeah.
Do you need an extra hand, or are you good? Wow.
Did it come out? Because I can't
Holy
see.
smokes! Perfect.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. Wow.
Now I'm going to roll it with from the shorter side.
So I wondered about that, because if you roll it from the longer side, you have a longer roll, but you have fewer rolls.
Rolls. I mean, you want to see that filling in the inside, so you just very, very carefully.
So it's really hot right now.
Yeah, and you're just gonna.
So you're rolling it
Roll
while
it.
it's hot from the short end. Okay. Okay.
And it's going to have to cool for a few minutes. I can't put the filling in while it's just hot. It wouldn't.
No, it'd melt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might stick. So we're going to leave it like this
Okay.
for a few minutes while it cools.
So probably to room temperature, do you think? I mean, it should be
It should be.
pretty much room temperature. Can you stick it in the refrigerator, or do you not do that?
I've never done that.
Me either.
I've just let it stay out on the counter, half hour or so.
Okay.
And then we'll put the filling on and roll it back up again without
The towel.
the towels.
Okay, so we'll let that cool,
We'll
and
let
we'll
that
be
cool.
back with our filling. Looks like you are unrolling.
I'm
It's all
unrolling.
cooled.
So one little part there where, a couple little parts, but we'll use the filling.
Of cracks, you mean? Yeah.
So here we go. I just kind of lump it on in different, on the, and then just spread it out.
Okay. You go all the way to the
I do,
edge?
yep. Okay, let's see if we can get this. This is the one place.
So you roll it up warm, so it already gives it that sort of.
it's not like.
It won't break.
Yeah,
It's not going to break.
no.
It's already been rolled up warm. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a rehearsal for the real.
I just want to make sure I get them all in there. I think that's good. So now I'm going to roll it up again. And again, very gently, because see, you could.
Yeah. It can crack a little bit.
It can crack. It's okay.
But I think the cracks actually, they don't even look bad.
No, almost like a Yule log.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. It's a big one. Looks so good. Look, there's no cracks at all.
Hardly any. And I've got a little bit more of the confectioner's sugar on here. I'm just going to sprinkle a little more on the top. And then Kathy has a
Yeah, we'll put it on the platter.
platter all decorated. She did a beautiful job.
Well, let's move over to the platter. I'm going to go get that, and we'll come back and we'll slice it open so we can see what's on the inside of that, and give it a taste.
It does look good.
And here you have the finished pumpkin roll. You can see the spiral the cake with the cream cheese filling in there on either end. And it's about a foot long, I would say. And absolutely perfect. So that is my mom's, Judy's, famous pumpkin roll. So now we're gonna actually try it. Should we try it?
Yes. Bon appetit.
It's delicious.
Very good. It's
Cream
delicious.
cheese.
It's really good.
It's light. It's fluffy.
Yep.
It's
Perfect
sweet, but
fall.
it's not overly sweet.
It's a perfect fall
It has the
dessert.
fall ginger and pumpkin and cinnamon spices to it. So one of the things I often think about is like, remember we used to have tag sales,
yes.
and we would all bring our stuff to your house because
Yeah.
you had the best location for the tag sales. But we didn't even sell that much because we just ended up
Trading.
buying each other's
other's
stuff.
That's true.
Which was one way to get new stuff for not a lot of money. So even way back when we were doing, making our homes or our apartments or college dorms or wherever we were living beautiful on a budget, on a pretty
Yes.
small budget.
It was a lot of fun, a lot
Yeah.
of memories of those tag
Sales
sales. Oh, I
and
love
lemonade
them.
stands. And
Yeah.
do you, when you think about it, is there something that you thrifted or tag saled or estate saled that is one of your favorite things still to this day?
Well, I'll tell you, Kath, you were with me. We had just bought a first home down here in Florida, and it was unfurnished. And we were at a tag sale, and there were 2 prints framed of St. Andrew's Golf Course. And they're pretty good size. I have them hanging up in my house here in Florida. We moved from that little house to this house now, and
They came with you.
and they came with me, and they're on the wall.
Yeah,
on my
I'll
living-
insert a picture so people can see them because
Yes,
they're really beautiful.
they're beautiful.
I don't remember what you paid for them, but
I think it was $40 each. I think it was $80 for the 2.
for the 2, but
Yeah.
they're huge
And they're beautiful.
beautifully professionally framed.
Yes, they were. Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one. I do remember that tag sale. Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by our channel today. We appreciate you. As you can see, our mom is very clearly the reason that my sisters and I love to make our homes and our lives beautiful on a budget. She and my dad raised 5 kids, myself, my 2 sisters, and my 2 brothers, on teachers' salaries, and we always had a beautiful home and the most wonderful traditions. We were so happy today to be able to share one of those traditions with you. We hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy time with your families. From our homes to yours, happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Hey friends, it's Paula. Welcome back to Relatively Refined, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, my sisters Kathleen, Patty, and I are going to be sharing our Thanksgiving tablescapes with you. Each of us has designed a slightly different tablescape to give you some inspiration for this holiday season. We hope you enjoy. We would really appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's take a look at these beautiful Thanksgiving tablescapes.
Hi, it's Kathleen from Relatively Refined. Before we get started in putting together our Thanksgiving tablescape, I thought I would show you some of the elements that I am planning on using in this Thanksgiving tablescape and the inspiration behind it. So in Vermont here, we are in what we call stick season. So I am going with a all brown, sort of neutral tone Thanksgiving tablescape, and mostly things that I found in nature. So the inspiration for this tablescape are these 2 deer candle holders that I got at an estate sale. Those will anchor the tablescape. And then I'm going to use wooden pieces that my husband has turned on his lathe, some trees and some mushrooms and some acorns. I'm also going to use the natural elements from outside, pine cones and a bunch of brown leaves that we just cut off of a tree today. Instead of a centerpiece, like a floral centerpiece, I'm going to use those leaves, I believe. That's what I'm planning on doing. And instead of a traditional vase, I'm going to use this birch bark. It did have a candle in it. I burned the candle down. I had that last year. And so I'm going to use that as a vessel to hold those. I have a few artificial acorns that I got in a bundle from an estate sale. And I'm going to use this taupe or brown. It's actually a scarf. I took that from my sister Patty. I'm going to use it as a, in the middle of the table, sort of a runner. It was an infinity scarf, and I cut it, and I'll use it as a runner. And lastly, to fit with that sort of neutral brown, I'm going to use, these are a little more gold, but I think they'll be okay. And I actually picked these up at an estate sale. I always love to buy candles that are unused. So those are the elements that I plan on putting together to create my Thanksgiving tablescape in sort of as an homage to stick season here in Vermont. So let's get started. I started with the infinity scarf that I cut to use as a table runner. I picked it up for $1 at a local thrift shop. I then added the centerpiece, which was a used vessel, and inserted a stick from out in the woods. I surrounded the base of that with larger pine cones that I saved from an old Christmas wreath. I then added the candlesticks that were inspiration for this, and some of the wooden trees and mushrooms that my husband has been making on the lathe. I used the gold candles that I picked up at an estate sale for $1 a piece, and added those to the deer candle holders. I placed a few extra branches to lengthen the centerpiece, and a few twinkle lights to give it light. Here is the table, all set for Thanksgiving for 6. So as you saw in the still pictures, the table, the centerpiece, was made out of all thrifted items or things that we found outside, like the branches. And I decided to sprinkle in some twinkle lights because it is November and it gets dark, and they just add a really nice glow, even when the candles are not lit. So I like to sprinkle those in any place and any chance I get. So you'll see the deer candlesticks with the thrifted gold candlesticks that work great. They really fit in with the brown stick season theme. And at each place setting, I decided to use the brown chargers that were from our local thrift shop, as well as the little Friendly Village plates, because to me, they just seem like going to grandma's for Thanksgiving. And I picked up these, a whole set, for $50 on the marketplace. And I put a little thankful sign in there. The gold plated, gold silverware or flatware was also a marketplace find. And I decided to use that rather than the stainless just because of that brown theme. The only thing that is not thrifted or handmade or already owned are the napkins. Those are relatively new, and I bought those on sale at Target. The glassware is a thrifted vintage Libby, I think, glassware with the gold leaves on it. And I'm really pleased at how it came out. I think it was simple. It came together rather quickly. I took a nod from Patty with the thrifted scarf that I picked up for $1 and decided to use it as the table runner. Like I said in the introduction, it was an infinity scarf that I had to then cut, but I can still use it as a scarf. And I just adore the little wooden trees and mushrooms and even the acorns that my husband is making out on the lathe. I will always find a place for those because I think they're so cool. And the birch bark, it was a candle that I received for Christmas a couple years ago. I saved the vessel because I thought it was really cool. And I'm glad I did. I just stuck that branch in there, surrounded it with some brown paper, and then covered it with some pine cones so you couldn't see the paper. I tried melting down the remaining wax to see if I could stick the stem in there, but that didn't quite work. So there you have it, a Thanksgiving tablescape, stick season in Vermont. Thank you so much for watching. And from all of us at Relatively Refined, we hope you and your family have a really wonderful Thanksgiving. We appreciate you and are very thankful for you. Take care.
Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to my Thanksgiving table setting. So I'm going to start as usual with an overview of the table. This is in my formal dining room and it is not particularly formal, but it is our dining room. And I have gone with, as you can see, lots of gold and brown and creamy white. And of course, I'm trying to carry through my bird theme since this is Thanksgiving. And I've also incorporated in some fruit because I'm really trying to keep this a very traditional New England Thanksgiving tablescape. And I think there's something about pears and apples and pheasants and things like that that really evoke a New England traditional Thanksgiving. This in the center is a recently purchased from an antique store, so it's pre-loved soup tureen, and I loved the details on this. The swans, again with sort of the bird theme that I'm carrying through here, and I love that it came as 4 pieces. So it has the underplate, the ladle, the base, and the lid. And that underplate can also serve as a platter for turkey. So you don't need to have a separate turkey platter for that. And I'm showing you also that gravy boat over there because I think Thanksgiving is the one time that we use a gravy boat. And funny story about this tureen, I have been on the hunt for a white soup tureen. I really wanted an ironstone one. And I have been looking for a very long time. And so last weekend I bit the bullet at an antique store and purchased that swan one. And honestly, since then, in the past week, I have seen a half dozen soup tureens. So I think that's sort of the way it works. There's my hurricanes over my candles because at a Thanksgiving table with lots of hands, I really like the protection of the hurricane. This gold pear, I actually bought a bag of gold fruit. There were pears and apples at a consignment store recently, and I thought they looked really pretty on the table. So now I'm going to show you the place setting, and you will see my traditional white plate. That's my Mikasa plate underneath. And then I just have a very simple cloth napkin in a flax color. And then of course on top are my turkey plates. They are salad plates, and you saw where I thrifted those. These frosted pheasant tumblers are some of my favorites. Those were from a yard sale, and I just love the colors, the size, and of course that there are pheasants on them. And you can see my bronze flatware that I picked up at a church rummage sale. I love those. And I love to set a table with the extra fork and spoon for dessert on top. And I decided to put the butter plates, bread and butter plates here with a gold pear or apple on some with the flatware. Those are just the vintage false craft plates, and I think they look super nice with the fruit on them. So that is the place setting, very simple, clean. Just remember there's going to be a lot of food on this table, so we need lots of room. And I don't want to fuss with a ton of dishes. Like I said, there's hands reaching, and that just can spell trouble. If you'll notice in the back, behind the table is my buffet, and I have some serving dishes over there. I will give you a close-up here in just a minute. So here I have a lot of my false craft serving dishes, my little serving side tureens and side dish holders. There's my Four Winds bowls. And I thought it would be really fun to put a Thanksgiving book out on display. I actually thrifted this and I love the way it looks, and I've actually used it for quite a bit. So I put it there so that it added a little bit of color, but also just a reminder of why we're here. Another pro tip is to leave extra cloth napkins on the side table in case somebody needs an extra one, which invariably happens.
Okay, so I thought it would be fun to show you a way that you can fold a napkin for your Thanksgiving table. In my house, my daughter usually makes place cards, and this method gives you a little pocket to put a place card in. It can also sit upright. This is a fold known as the bishop's hat. And I'm just taking a square napkin. Don't mind the wrinkles, but this is just a quick tutorial. And I'm facing you, so it would have been better if I could have done this from behind me. So you may have to, this may test your spatial skills. So I'm just laying it out in a diamond, and I'm going to bring the bottom corner up to the top to make a triangle. And each step of the way I'm smoothing. This is not the easiest napkin to work with. It's very thin and it has fringe, but this is what I had handy, and this is what I'm using on my Thanksgiving table. So this is what I'm going to be using for this. So I'm just going to try to smooth it out as best I can. And then I'm going to put my hand in the long side in the middle, and I'm going to bring up the bottom point to the top. And I'm going to repeat on this side. So you end up with a diamond with a fold or a seam right in the middle. And then you're going to take this bottom corner up almost to the top, just about an inch or so from the top corner. Crease it, and then you're going to fold it right back down to the bottom. And again, just smooth it out as you go. And then very carefully holding all the pieces, just flip it over. And this time, you're going to take this bottom flat edge and fold it into the middle. So you have the straight bottom. And then when you do this side, you're going to fold it in and you're going to tuck it into this pocket. So tuck that in. And then you have a flat side here. And then you're going to flip it over and you're going to end up with this. So you can tuck a place card in here, or you can also stand it up on your table as place setting and put a place card in that.
I hope you enjoyed seeing how my Thanksgiving table looks, and you have maybe learned something from this quick napkin tutorial that might just elevate your Thanksgiving table. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Here is an overview of my Thanksgiving table. As you can see, I did go with a very limited color palette for this tablescape. I used creamy whites, brown, and then a beautiful kind of honey gold color that you see in the florals and the candlesticks. I really think that by using a limited color palette and the clear glassware, it reduces the visual clutter and gives the illusion that the table is actually bigger than it is. Let's take a look at the centerpiece. This is a beautiful Weller vase that I got a few years ago off of Facebook Marketplace. I thought the gorgeous autumnal colors in the vase were perfect for Thanksgiving. And I also felt like the flowers on the bittersweet echoed the flower that is painted or applied on the vase. Here are my Baldwin brass candlesticks under hurricane glass. And that hurricane glass is actually very practical on a small table because an open flame and a small table can be a dangerous situation. So I like to use those hurricane vases over my candlesticks. And it also elevates it and makes it just that much more fancy for Thanksgiving. At each place setting, I used a burlap leaf that I got at Dollar Tree many years ago and a small pumpkin or gourd. And that just gives some visual interest and some contrast to the creamy white plates. And those are my Mikasa French countryside plates. These napkins I got probably 10 or 12 years ago from Pottery Barn, and they're perfect. They have a pine cone and some pine needles. And the gold flatware I purchased from Walmart. I believe it's the Better Homes and Gardens brand. Here's the centerpiece and a full look at the table. And I think it's very beautiful. Simple and elegant, not too cluttered, but also conveys the sense that this is a fancy dinner we're having, or fancier than normal, and it's a special occasion, and I'm really happy with the way it all turned out. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'd like to leave you with this Irish blessing. May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Relatively Refined. Hi everyone, welcome to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. In today's video, my sisters and I are sharing our Thanksgiving tablescapes with you. We do this every year and we thoroughly enjoy it. We hope our tablescapes give you a bit of inspiration for your own Thanksgiving tablescape. All right, let's get started. Setting a Thanksgiving table is a deeply sentimental ritual, not just in its gathering of family and friends, but in the tangible connections to loved ones and memories of Thanksgivings past. The dishes, linens, glassware, and silver that we use often carry stories of those who have gone before us. Each piece a silent witness to years of holiday celebrations. Perhaps it's a set of dishes, like the beautiful brown drip dishes that I'm using, that once belonged to a grandmother, and now carefully placed on the table. The plates may show signs of wear from countless meals, yet their cracks and scuffs hold a kind of beauty, reminding us of the hands that once carefully arranged them, and the laughter and the love shared around the table. The linens, too, often evoke a sense of nostalgia, whether it's a cherished tablecloth, like the one on my table, handed down from Trudy's grandmother, or a set of embroidered napkins that were once lovingly stitched by hand. These simple items seem to carry the weight of family traditions, embodying the spirit of a time when Thanksgiving was marked by more than just a meal. It was an occasion to pause, reflect, and give thanks for the abundance in life. There's something deeply moving about the thought that these linens have absorbed the warmth of years of shared moments and that they continue to be a part of new gatherings, linking past and present in a circle of gratitude. The glassware and silver are perhaps the most formal and yet the most intimate parts of the setting. A crystal goblet once held by a beloved aunt or father, or the silver utensils that were polished by hand before each meal, bring to mind not just the act of dining, but the people who made it all meaningful. The act of carefully setting the table with these items feels like a gesture of honoring their memory, as though we are carrying forward their love and attention to detail. Even the way the light catches the silver or the glass shimmering softly on the table serves as a quiet tribute to those who are no longer with us, but whose presence lingers in every reflection and every gesture. Together, these objects create more than just a setting. They weave a tapestry of love, remembrance, and continuity. In the ritual of setting the Thanksgiving table, we participate in a form of remembrance that is both personal and universal. It is as though, in placing each dish and folding each napkin, we are inviting the past into the present, and through our gratitude, giving thanks for both the memories we hold and the family we continue to create.
So my Thanksgiving tablescape has a little story behind it. I was out in the garage putting some things away, and I found this box, and I opened it up, and inside was a set of dishes that I had picked up at a yard sale probably 7 or 8 years ago, if not longer. And I remember getting them thinking, oh, these will be great for my son if he's going to go into an apartment or whatever. They're just, they were not expensive. I think the whole set was like $20. And it was a friend of ours who was having a tag sale. And she told me that the story behind them, she had bought these dishes with the green stamps many, many years ago and collected them as she had those green stamps. And so the dishes, I'm just going to show you one that sort of gave me the inspiration behind my tablescape. They're very mid-century modern with this piece of wheat on here and this silver edge. And it says they are Easterling, made in Bavaria, Germany. So I took them out and I thought, oh, maybe I've never used them before, and maybe it's time to do something a little different with my Thanksgiving table. And I don't have a lot of silver. I often use gold. I have gold rimmed dishes and glasses with gold, but I thought I'm going to try to do something and bring out this silver. So that was the color inspiration for my tablescape. But like I said, I didn't have a lot of silver items. So I rustled up all the pieces of silver that I could find and polished them all up. And I still didn't have enough for like a tablescape. And then I thought, you know what if I find some faux pumpkins and gourds and spray paint them silver? So I went into the Goodwill and I found a whole bunch of these, fake pumpkins. They're not perfect. If you look closely, there was rips in them, and they were just kind of randomly thrown throughout the store. And I picked up as many as I could find and a can of spray paint, and I spray painted them all silver. So that is how I got my color theme for my tablescape. The other little thing that I wanted to mention is I have a very long farm table, And so when I'm doing a tablescape, rather than have just a centerpiece, I like to make it long and sort of almost, obviously not the length of the table, but a nice long flowy centerpiece. So you'll see that when I show you how it turned out, that it isn't just a centerpiece. It kind of extends. It's like an extended centerpiece. And as I was setting this table, the other thing I thought about was, you can make any tablescape absolutely gorgeous with lighting. And so I always include a lot of candles, and I happened to find some silver candles that I had tucked away. I never used them. I'm not sure if I got them at the Goodwill. I very well could have. So I have a couple of sets of tall taper candles, and then I also sprinkle around smaller tea light candles. And in addition to just the candlelight, I think every tablescape, it elevates every single tablescape to sprinkle in some of those little twinkly lights. And I did find a set of those in my drawer. So let me show you this year, 2024's Thanksgiving tablescape with a theme of sparkly silver. So here is the tablescape in the daylight. And as you can see, it's really white and silver is the color combination. And at each table setting, there are those dishes from our friend's tag sale. Now the set only had a service for 4. I didn't realize that. So the end chairs have a different plate underneath, but you can see this one. Here's our plates. There were several salad plates and dessert plates and bread plates, all with that silver rim. And then I picked up the silver chargers at the dollar store, and I thought, those can also be spray painted. So if I decide not to do silver or do something different one year, I can spray paint them. So I thought that was a nice little investment to make. And I'm going to give you a little tour of that elongated centerpiece. So you'll see some silver that I found and I made into candle holders. And there's another spray painted silver pumpkin. And on the taller pieces of silver are real white pumpkins. Some more silver. I do like to include flowers in a centerpiece, so I went with white tulips. It's a very non-traditional Thanksgiving tablescape, but I was excited to try something different. There's one of 4 compotes. And another sterling silver cup that was given to me by my mother-in-law. And she had it from her aunts or uncles who lived in New York City and often went to thrift stores and picked up sterling silver. So she had all of this sterling silver and gave it to me. The sterling silver candlesticks and even the sparkly silver candles. I went with plain white napkins and the silver-plated silverware. I've often done tablescapes with gold, but since this was a silver theme, we dug out the good silverware. And it is a holiday, so the glassware I chose to set the table with are these champagne flutes from Simon Pierce. And I did pick up those at a consignment store. So this is the Thanksgiving tablescape in the daylight. And now I will give you a glimpse of it really sparkling with the candles lit and the little twinkle lights lit. And you can see how it looks in the dark. Here's a look at the tablescape
at dusk, when I think the candlelight really brings out the sparkle in the silver, in both the centerpiece and in the dishware, as well as the hand-blown glass. So from my table to yours, happy Thanksgiving.
Hi everyone, it's Patty. Welcome to my Thanksgiving Tablescape 2024. So when I am designing a tablescape, I usually take a color palette, and the color palette is usually derived from some kind of an inspiration piece. Well, this Thanksgiving, that was pretty easy because my inspiration piece or pieces were this beautiful china from Limoges that I purchased from a thrift store. So the color palette I drew from this border pattern, which is this lovely soft green, and the colors on the flowers here, be hard to see probably, we're dealing with morning light, are pink and kind of a yellowish orange color. But when they are together, my eyes see them as a kind of a salmon or apricot color. So I thought for my Thanksgiving tablescape, I would stick to the palette of green and gold, like this rim, and this kind of apricot peach type color. And that was the color palette that I selected for my tablescape this year. And I thought it would be fun to create a faux with some real and natural elements centerpiece for my Thanksgiving table. This is the centerpiece that I created. I was inspired, of course, by the colors of the china from Limoges, and I wanted to make sure I had plenty of this pretty apricot color and white and some natural elements such as leaves and a little bit of cedar from my garden. I also used fresh pears, so it's a nice combination of live and faux florals. I also put this together in a tureen, so it has a nice low profile. And for this occasion, where it is on a side table or a dessert table, as it will be used for Thanksgiving, I decided to put it on a pedestal. This is just a thrifted cake stand, and it gives it a little bit of height. Now, of course, on the table proper, you would not want this level of height because it would be distracting and it would be too high. But when you are eating, it's nice to have it here on the side. It really looks lovely with this beautiful federal mirror, and I set it all up for a dessert table. So of course I have the berry bowls and the teacups and saucers. I decided to use the bronze flatware teaspoons. And there you can see the live pear in there. There are some faux leaves and of course the cedar from the garden. And then over here I have the dessert plates in that gorgeous pattern from Limoges, along with one of our relatively refined satin pumpkins in the color of champagne, which I thought really went beautifully. And of course, here's another option. This is what you'll want to do when you first are presenting your table. You'll want it in the middle, and you can see it is not on a pedestal because it is plenty big, and it would certainly be in the way of diners if that was on a pedestal. I also wanted to point out this tablecloth is also thrifted. If you remember, this nice chocolate brown color really sets off the beautiful Limoges dishes and any of the bronze or brass pieces that are there, and I think it really ties everything together. Now, of course, when it's time to eat, that centerpiece will be removed and brought to the dessert table. I do have a gorgeous platter from that set that was in the center. I have a covered dish on it, but that would be turkey for Thanksgiving. And this is just me setting the table. I thought you might like to see the order that I presented things. Of course, we have a dinner plate and a luncheon or salad plate. I did use the coupe soup bowls because I may do a soup course in our Thanksgiving dinner. And of course, when you set the table, you'll want to put the flatware in the order that it is used from outside to inside. So I do have a soup spoon there. That is a dinner fork. That is a salad fork. And then, of course, the napkin on the outside. I'm just using white linen napkins in no particular shape or design. And bread and butter plates go above the forks. And hard to see, but I do have a butter spreader with this set of flatware. I have my fabulous pheasant drinking glasses that we will use for water, and then these gold rimmed champagne flutes on the outside, which we will use for wine. I think it all came together nicely. I really enjoyed the simplicity. I really wanted those dishes to be the star of the show. And although I do love my centerpiece, and I'm going to show it to you here on the table so you can see, I do think ultimately I love it over on the dessert table even more. But here is a nice overview of my Thanksgiving table, and I want to wish you all a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Thanks, everyone.
May your Thanksgiving be bountiful with reasons to be grateful. Happy Thanksgiving from the Sisters of Relatively Refined. Hello everyone, and welcome to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. In today's video, my sisters Patty and Kathleen and I will be sharing our Thanksgiving Day tablescapes with you. We always enjoy sharing a tablescape. It's so fun to get creative, and it's really fun to see what each of us has come up with. So stay tuned, you're in for a treat. Well, I'm starting out my tablescape by taking a walk in the neighborhood to take some inspiration from nature. The inspiration for today's tablescape for me came from a placemat that I recently thrifted, which I'll share later on in the video, and from Mother Nature herself. The beautiful browns and greens of these magnolia leaves really spoke to me. I thought that color scheme would be perfect to incorporate on my Thanksgiving table. So I gathered my basket, my clippers, and my gloves, and I headed out to clip some of these gorgeous leaves. Here is my basket full of goodies. I'm going to pick that up and head back to my kitchen and get started on my centerpiece. All of the things that I'm using on my tablescape today are items that I already owned. I had the dishes, the glassware, and the flatware already and did not purchase anything new for the table setting itself. So I thought it would be really fun to get creative with my centerpiece. As I mentioned earlier, the inspiration for my tablescape came from a thrifted placemat. I'll insert a picture of it here so you can see the colors in it. The beautiful greens and browns and the vining aspect of it made me think about vegetables and nature. And so when I was at the grocery store and saw these artichokes, I thought they would be perfect. The color goes absolutely wonderfully with the placemat, and the sculptural quality of the artichokes would be perfect for the centerpiece. I grabbed some wooden skewers, filled a planter with some floral foam, and proceeded to have fun with the artichokes and the magnolia leaves, creating a really interesting and I think quite beautiful centerpiece. I started by first putting the artichokes in and around the planter. And then I used the magnolia leaves to fill in the spaces between the artichokes and hide the floral foam. You can see that the underside of the magnolia leaves is that gorgeous brown color. And green and brown to me is such a Thanksgiving color combination. I love those two colors together, and it's very evocative of nature. So I just was cutting the magnolia leaves into different lengths so that I could fill them in. They also kind of help to prop up the artichokes, which were a little bit top heavy. The vessel that I made this in was a little bit shallower than probably was ideal for this, but the leaves helped to prop everything up. And then I went to my refrigerator and saw that we had some little clementines, and I grabbed those and put those on some skewers and added those in for a dash of orange. And I think that the whole thing came out so pretty. Here's a close-up of it. Actually, as I was taking this picture or this video, I thought that it needed just a little something else. So I went into my closet and my stash and I grabbed a few pheasant feathers. And you will see in a moment that I added those to the arrangement. And I think they were the perfect finishing touch for the whole thing. Here's a picture of it with the pheasant feathers. I didn't get that on camera, but I do think that that was just what the piece needed. Okay, so the inspiration for my Thanksgiving tablescape was this placemat that I thrifted the other day. I loved the colors and the viney aspect of it. It kind of reminded me, I don't know why, of squash vines. So I thought, I'm going to make my centerpiece out of vegetables. And I mentioned it to my daughter Neve, and she thought that sounded crazy. But as you saw, it turned out pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down the centerpiece on my table. Okay, go ahead. All right, so let me see. I'm not sure which way that's going to go best, but I'm going to set my centerpiece down. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab these rattan chargers. They're my favorites. I like to use the dark ones in the winter and the lighter colored ones in the summer. So, I think the dark brown of these chargers was the perfect match for the brown underside of the magnolia leaves. And then in keeping with the brown and green color scheme, I used my green transferware dinner plates. Green is a wonderfully versatile color, and you can use it in almost any season. It looked especially pretty, I thought, on these dark brown chargers. Next, I layered on a plate that had some gold detail around the edge. You have to have gold or silver at the holidays. It just makes everything feel special. These little plates I thrifted at Goodwill for 59 cents each. Next, I'm going to use these gorgeous block print napkins. They're brown with a little pine cone design on them. And we do carry these in our shop. They are absolutely stunning. In fact, when my mom saw them online, she called me at work the other day and said, "Save me 2 packs of those napkins. I love them." So the brown, I think, looks beautiful layered with the green and the gold. And then finally, the finishing touch on the place setting are the small little bread plates in the green transferware pattern. The layering of the brown and green I think is so pretty and picks up on the brown and green of the centerpiece perfectly. I opted to use my gold flatware just to bring a sense of warmth to the table. And I'm a Wellesley College alumna, and Judith Martin, Miss Manners, went to Wellesley, so I'm always very conscious of how I use my silverware, because I remember reading in Miss Manners that you set your silverware up as though it were to be used from the outside in. So the salad fork first, then the dinner fork, the knife on the inside, and then you would have probably a soup spoon if you were having soup, but we're not, and then the smaller spoon. And then finally, I finished off the whole thing with these beautiful green wine glasses. I love how delicate they are, and they look so pretty with the brown and green color scheme of the place settings. I had to use little votive candles because my table's quite small and I really didn't have room for anything else on there. So to be safe, I used these very small candles instead of taller taper ones. And there is a look at the finished tablescape. I love the brown and green color combination. The napkins are perfect with their pine cones on there. The gold flatware continues the warm color scheme. The delicate wine glasses add a touch of elegance, and the whole thing is pulled together by all of the colors in the centerpiece. Thanksgiving is a time to reflect upon the many blessings in our lives and to be thankful for all that we have been given. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to wish each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. My sisters and I are so thankful for you. We appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate that you take the time to watch our videos, and we especially appreciate that you take the time to write such thoughtful and encouraging comments. We count each of you among the many blessings in our lives. Thank you so very much.
Welcome to the Thanksgiving Tablescape edition of Relatively Refined. This is Kathleen, and my tablescape was really inspired by my sisters. Patty with that beautiful pearwood green, and Paula with her wonderful craft bleaching pine cones. So the centerpiece for this table really is all about greens and whites, the pine cones and the mosses, the birch bark, even the sticks, all were collected on a recent walk around town. So I just put everything, kind of piled it all onto a piece of cardboard and put in a few of the votive candles that I had picked up. And I think it's really just, it gives off a very nice light. It's low so that you can talk across the table, but it has all of the elements that inspired me, and including a few little wooden acorns that my husband made. Some of the dishes, the turkey platter and this little turkey dish, as well as a kind of a gourd or a squash dish I picked up at yard sales this fall. And I've stashed them away and just brought them out for the Thanksgiving table. Each place setting is exactly the same, and the dishes were our grandma berries. And so they bring back lots of wonderful Thanksgivings and Christmases. And if you look closely at them, again, they have that pine cone detail in the middle. And because it's a holiday, I love that there's gold. There's always, you need some sort of silver or gold because it's the holidays, even when your theme or your inspiration is just nature. So those dishes I have, and I bring them out on very special occasions. The gold silverware I purchased on Marketplace, as well as the vintage Libby gold leaf glasses. So all in all, it's a very simple Thanksgiving tablescape inspired by what matters most, my family. Thank you, Paula and Patty, for the inspiration for the centerpiece, and our Grandma Berry, whose dishes are so meaningful and they just bring out such a festive feel. So from me in Vermont, I'm wishing you all a very happy Thanksgiving. We for sure are very thankful for all of you.
Hi everyone, my name is Patty. Welcome to my 2023 Thanksgiving Tablescape. In this video, you're going to see a lot of familiar items, you're going to see some new items, and a lot of thrifted treasures. I decided to focus on some natural elements that were already in the house to create the color palette that I carried throughout my table. And because it's a small gathering this year, I decided to include a few special treats, and I really wanted to focus on the details. I really do believe that a beautiful tablescape really is about the details. It's about those little elements that make things make your table seem special and make your guests feel welcome. So let's get started with my 2023 Thanksgiving Tablescape.
When starting a tablescape, I like to start with a color palette. And the color palette I've selected was inspired from this April Cornell table runner, which I found in one of my drawers and haven't had out in several years. And of course, at the center of the table is this recent thrift find, this gorgeous transferware turkey platter. And right now, in anticipation of the turkey, I just put some vegetables and some gourds that I had around the house. I am fortunate to have a formal dining room which is not used frequently, so I set this tablescape up about a week ago, and I have been walking by and admiring it and adding to it. And these gilded apples and pears I bought last year at a consignment shop, and just again opened a drawer and there they were, so I added them to the centerpiece. Again, the turkey will be on this platter, but for now I'm really enjoying these colors. Here you can see I selected 3 different colored taper candles, which I thought matched the colors in the table runner and the overall color palette of my tablescape. I've also used various candle holders, some low, which I prefer on a dining table. I love to have lit candles at our dining table regardless of the time of day. I think it just makes everything elevated and more special. Nearly everything on my Thanksgiving table has been pre-loved. I recently purchased this lovely stemware with the etching on it for 50 cents a piece at a thrift store. Here is an overview of the place setting. You notice I decided not to use any kind of placemat or charger. And in a nod to the unexpected, I purchased these chocolate turkeys from Lake Champlain Chocolates and decided that would be a nice detail to have on everyone's plate. And even though I'm not using formal chargers, these West Elm plates that I thrifted from a Goodwill in South Carolina are large enough to act as such. These taupe plaid napkins are one of the few things I purchased new for my table, and they are from a shop in Stowe, Vermont that I picked up on a recent trip. And the taupe color works so well with those thrifted salad plates with the turkeys on them. Bronze flatware has such a nice impact, and I purchased this whole set from a church rummage sale. And that is the detail that I really love to see this year. I even used the thrifted green ribbon to tie a little bow, which I actually stapled on. And you can see how nicely those napkins go with those taupe turkey plates. I wanted to take just a minute to share with you this little dish that is going to be on my table. And it is a Nora Fleming small wooden serving dish. And this little charm with the turkey on it, I actually just barely picked up at a thrift store. And it is just a little charm. I think I paid $1.25 for it, and it fits right in there. And there is an up-close look at those Lake Champlain chocolate turkeys, which I purchased locally and I am putting on everyone's plate. Sometimes it's the little things, the little details that make a big difference. Our Thanksgiving dinner this year will be small, and I am perfectly okay with that. And since at Thanksgiving especially, we talk a lot about family, I sure didn't want it to go unsaid that family is what you make of it. Family can be one person or hundreds. It is our pets, our friends, our neighbors, and in our case, our viewers. We are so thankful for all of you who take time out of your busy lives to watch these videos, to write sweet, encouraging comments, and to really have become part of our lives. We are so thankful for the opportunity to do this and to interact with all of you.